wow, those last two chapters were super dark and sad. I don't know about everybody else, but I need something fun to get that out of my head. I mean, first Star Swirl was like, Twilight, you're a changeling queen. And Twilight was all, no way, but she totally was. And then they went to go erase some lines in time or something. I didn't really follow what they meant. I usually like to color outside the timelines. So anyway, they got there, and then Queen Sparkle was all, rawr, I'm evil and a meanie who does mean things, but I'm also a victim of tragic circumstances, so you should really feel bad for me. Rawr! And she put Twilight with that mind control poison stuff. But then Twilight was all, no way, I'm Twilight Sparkle, and I'm totally too badass for that. And she fought back against it. Then they hid in a big vault, and Twilight was going to use the element of magic. But it was like, nuh-uh, when she touched it, and then, when Star Swirl did, so he used it instead of her. Meanwhile, Twilight was talking to Queen Sparkle and saying that they should let them cast a spell, and not kill them, because if they did, it would mean that when something killed her, it would kill her for real. But she was totally lying. So anyway, two of them came home, and Twilight was all sick and stuff from the changeling venom, so she went to the hospital. Star Swirl and Luna came to see her, and there was this awkward moment where Star Swirl was sorry because he euthanized her. Although, I don't know why, because she looks great for her age. Then she was like, yes, you dreamed about it in the future past, and I already knew that. Twilight did this in Hard Reset, too, about the timeline where we slept together. Why do so many ponies dream recaps of major plot points? And then they kissed and made up, and I was all, aww. Then Azalea came to see Twilight, and I was because even though Twilight hasn't known her for very long, the two of them have been ultra totally into each other since they met, and it's adorable. But then Azalea accidentally used the changeling venom to make Twilight tell her everything. And, everything is a lot. Like, if I told you everything about a normal day for me, you'd be all, Pinkie, that's silly, or Pinkie, 30,000 Danishes is way too many for 8 ponies, or Pinkie, that isn't even physically possible. But it was even worse, because Twilight was telling her everything about a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, and Azalea got all freaked out and ran away from her. Even though before, she had been all like, I care about you super a lot, and I'll be with you forever. And last time I checked, 4 evers was way more than a couple of days. That's not even a 10th of 1 ever. Not nice, Azalea. Plus, now Twilight's all angsty and stuff. And the worst part is I never got to make a joke or anything about being recursive. So it's a sour mood when all of my best friends come with me to pick up Twilight from the hospital wing of the castle the day she's getting out. Not the good lemon candy kind of sour either. She comes out with her travel bag like she's ready to come home with us, but she doesn't look as happy as some pony who beat up a giant bug monster should. Twilight, dear, how are you feeling? Asks Rarity. Same as yesterday afternoon, she says, which means she's still all mopey and cryy, like she was when we checked in on her before. And she told us what she and Star Swirl did. I read the last 2 chapters myself, though, and she so left out a lot of parts. Then she told us about the fight she had with Azalea, and Applejack was all mad because she worked really hard picking her out just for Twilight, and she said the 2 of them were going to have words. I hope that at least one of them is Hortery, or maybe Tatterdemalion, because those are really neat words. Are you sure that the last of the changeling venom is gone? I've never made an antidote for that before. I've only really practiced that when Mr. Mongoose and Mr. King Cobra got into arguments, says Fluttershy. Gasp! I just had the best idea ever! I know, I say. Twilight Sparkle, I order you to not be mind-controlled anymore. Did that work? Twilight blinks a few times and kind of tilts her head a bit like she always does when I use a best idea ever. I think it did work. Thanks, Pinkie, she says. More important, she smiles a little tiny bit, which was the point anyway. Anyway, Star Swirl wants a couple days to spend with Luna, and the worst of the time problem is solved. A little longer working through the math, and we should have a way to tie up all the loose ends now that the big one's gone. I wanted to get it over with, but Celestia came by after you left and told me that she was ordering me to go home and get better first. Wow! A princess order that's also a mind control order? That's one doozy of an order. Well, we'll certainly be glad to have you back, says Rarity. Remember that if you ever want to talk about things with Azalea, there's a whole gallon of ice cream in my freezer with your name on it. Is there? I didn't think they made Twilight Sparkle ice cream. I wonder if it really tastes like her. Or it has little Twilight Sparkle pieces inside. Actually, that sounds kind of icky. Woohoo! Twilight on vacation, finally! Your life has been way too low in hijinks these last few weeks, and those are the friendliest kind of jinx because they're always saying hi. You've been super unlucky lately. Like, all your hijinks have turned into a jinx. Do you think that's why you got stuck in the time loop? Have you been buying off-brand jinx? No, Pinkie, says Twilight. Well, don't, I say. Now, come on, girls, we're going back to Ponyville, I say as I jump out of the door of the train car. Finally, says Dash. Gotta tell you, Pinkie, I was getting kind of worried when you just trailed off mid-sentence back there and then didn't say anything the entire ride home. Silly Dashy, that was a scene transition. Dashy rolls her eyes in that way that ponies always do when I'm right about something, but they don't understand why. Okay, Pinkie. Sure it was. Twilight looks really tired, so we can't have fun right away. I have just the solution. A pony problem panacea party. There's so much I have to do to get ready, though. Twilight, in 2 nights we're having a Po-Pro Banana party. What? She asks. Silly Twilight, who hasn't heard of a Po-Pro Banana party? You'll get the invitation soon, I say, and run off. When I come to Twilight's Library the next day, she's sitting around reading a book. This vacation she's on is starting to look suspiciously like a non-vacation, if you ask me. Gasp! In the corner, it's Home Run. She said she left him in the other timeline, but he made it back. This confirms my theory that Home Run is secretly from an alternate universe where Equestria is populated by sporting equipment, and when he and his friends were thwarting the evil Empress walk off the elements of athletics, tore a hole in space, and he fell through it. Now he wields the element of strikeouts and travels the multiverse fighting evil and righting wrongs, hoping each time the next lap will be his leap home. The other girls will probably just say that Twilight bought a new baseball bat yesterday, but I like my theory better. I'm on to you, Home Run. Taking off the name we put on you just before we gave you as a present to Twilight might have fooled the others, but not me. What was I doing here again? Hi, Twilight. Can you tell me what I'm doing here? I ask. Well, you're carrying an envelope and wearing a shirt that says, I just invited Twilight Sparkle to a party and all I got was this neato t-shirt and a party. So I'm going to take a wild guess and say that you're inviting me to the party you mentioned yesterday, says Twilight without glancing up from her book. That sort of keen deductive reasoning is why we let Twilight do most of the super hard thinky things. I have a ton of stuff I still need to do before tomorrow night, but something about Twilight's face makes me stop. I don't think she even knows that she's frowning a little, and her eyes are just a bit less bright than they should be, and all the other tiny things about her just scream, "Hug me!" So that's just what I do. Pinkie, what's this for? She asks. I just wanted to, I say. Twilight, I'm super duper sorry about Azealia. I know you liked her. It's okay, Pinkie. I mean, we only had one date, says Twilight, as if she could pretend that she didn't have a super good time on that date and really wanted there to be more. Maybe it'll work out. You're both my friends. I know my friends from A to Z, and I think she's really sorry too, although I can't be sure because even though I know her A to Z, she still has 4 more letters after that. Now Twilight looks really sad, and not just the general passive background kind of sad. Do I want it to? When I really needed her, she just made everything worse. But you aren't going to feel better if you don't talk to her, even if it is just to tell her for sure you don't want to see her again. And that she made you feel angry and hurt, I say. I know a lot of bad things have happened to you lately, but the Twilight Sparkle I love gets out there and happens right back at them, I say. Twilight smiles, and even if it's a kind of sad one, it's still a smile. Mission accomplished. I'll see you at the party tomorrow, okay? Okie Loki Dokie, says Twilight, returning my hug with a quick squeeze. I love her to death, but Twilight has to leave that kind of thing to us professionals. This party is going to be great. The guests should be here any minute. Only the best and most important ponies along with the fun and games and streamers and everything. There's a knock on the door, and I've never been so excited except for right before all my other parties, which means pretty much all the time. Surprise! I say as I open the door to see my 5 friends standing there.
Pinkie, you told us about this party. It's all you've been talking about for 2 days,
says Rarity. Exactly! The last place any pony expects there to be a surprise party is at the party they're already going to. It's my own special party judo, I say. They walk in and take a good look around the room. I hold out for just as long as I can, which turns out to be just under a second and a half, before I have to show them the first party surprise. Okay, girls, let's get started. I came up with a brand new super special recipe for this party, and we're all gonna have some, I say. Let me guess. Cookies? Asks Rainbow Dash. Nope, I say. Guess again, guess again. Some new sort of cake? Asks Twilight. I can't contain myself any longer. Nope, shots. I pull a tray of tiny glasses from wherever it is that I pull anything out of. The others look a little taken aback. Pinkie, I don't know, says Twilight. Just one. Then you can switch to whatever you want to drink for the rest of the night. And if you really don't want to, that's okay too. I can fill a shot glass with root beer or something for you, I say. You know what? Why not? Asks Twilight. She lifts up a glass with her magic, and as she does, the others reach for theirs too. Fluttershy looks down at hers. I'm sorry, Mr. Liver, she says. To the best party ever, I say. We all clink our glasses together and down them. The others all cough and choke as they do.
Pinkie, what are these?
Asks Applejack. I came up with a recipe, and I thought to myself, Pinkie, what should you call something that makes ponies act all crazy and do whatever you dare them to do and say things that they regret the next morning? And the answer was obvious. I call them changeling venoms. Judging by the way Twilight starts hacking and coughing again, when I say that, I just know she thinks the name is great, even though the rest of my friends are looking back and forth between me and her.
Pinkie, don't you think that these might be a little tasteless?
Asks Rarity. I giggle. I wish they were tasteless. They taste awful. That's why you have to shoot them, I say. The girls start to chat with one another, and I mingle with them for an hour or so. Twilight even takes a second shot of changeling venom, and I'm a bit surprised. I figured she, of all ponies, would have stopped after one. Don't tell her I said this, but she's sort of a lightweight. There's another knock on the door from downstairs. Yay! The rest of the guests are here!
I thought it was just the 6 of us tonight. Who else did you ask to come?
Asks Applejack. But it'll be quicker if I don't answer and just bring up the other guests. I yank the door open and Star Swirl is there. Hi, Star Swirl!
Hello. Pinkie, right? Princess Luna and Princess Celestia send their regrets, but they have work to do,
he says. Someday I'll have both princesses cutting loose at one of my parties while they're both at full power. It'll be epic! Welcome, come in. We're just getting started, I say. I lead him back upstairs to the party. Twilight is sitting by the drinks, and there's a 3rd and 4th empty shot glass hovering in the wobbly magic around her head. Uh-oh. Star Swirl? Horse apples. I didn't just teleport us all to Canterlot, right? She asks. She gets up onto her hooves unsteadily, and I wonder if I didn't make those changeling venoms a little too strong.
Twilight, are you okay?
Asks Star Swirl. She's managed to become the center of attention, and the Twilight I know always likes to stay just on the edge of attention when she's not being a super great leader, and right now she's not. I'm not so sure that shots were such a fun idea at all. In fact, none of this seems quite as fun as it did a minute ago. I'm better than okay, says Twilight. Why wouldn't I be? Just because Azalea and I broke up. Pfft, like that matters. Who cares about a sweet, clever, snuggly, smart, funny, sexy mare like her? I would have hated to end up spending a blissful, wonderful lifetime with a filly like that. She says. For some reason, I'm reminded about that stuff Rarity was explaining to me about subtext. Don't deserve her anyway.
You broke up with Azalea?
Asked Star Swirl. Twilight stops all of a sudden. I should have. I should have dumped her the moment she said that I love her. I mean, that she loves me. Who says that after one date? Crazy ponies, that's who. I'm not crazy, you know. I wouldn't actually do the kinds of things that she thought I would. I don't know why I told her I would. Just because I saw... Hey, are there any more shots? She asks. Nope, all gone. Just water and soda left, I say as I hide the shot still on my tray behind my back. Well, get me whatever soda has the most alcohol in it, she says. Hey, I know what sounds like fun. A game. Let's play a game. How long can Twilight lie down on the couch? I say. Actually, that could be a really fun game with the right rules for tickling and other props, but tonight, I just want Twilight not to do something she won't want to hear about tomorrow. No, I want to play something else, says Twilight. Let's play How Many Time Loops. I'll name an atrocity, and you girls guess how many loops it took before I was willing to commit it. Closest without going over wins. But she lets me lead her to the couch and lay her down on it. Our friends obviously know that this is shaping up to be my worst party ever. One of them turned down the music, and the others have gathered around us. I take Twilight's hoof, and when I do, she grabs me and pulls me toward her. I'm not her. You know I'm not her, right? She says. Shh! You're you, I say. Twilight still looks haunted. Exactly, Pinkie. That's what I'm afraid of. With that, Twilight lays down on my couch and closes her eyes. The rest of the girls look sad, but Star Swirl looks really angry.
Where does Azalea live?
He asks.
Easy there, Sugar Cube. No need for that. You want to have a nice calm chat with her, talk to her when she's selling flowers in the market tomorrow,
says Applejack.
Maybe I should take Twilight back to the library. I think she's had enough for one night,
he says. I can't argue with that. I'm sorry. I just thought if she was with all of us, she might feel better, but I messed everything up, I say. I'll come with you and help you tuck her in, says Fluttershy. Don't worry, Pinkie. This wasn't your fault. But it was my party. Anything bad that happens at my parties is at least a little itty bit my fault. The two of them leave, carrying a very sad Twilight, and I sink to the floor. It didn't work, I say. I really thought we could remind her of how everything could be good and fun again, I say. Not only is Twilight all sad, but now I am too. I can't believe she'd act like that after a few drinks. She's usually so in control. Even though I made the shots, it's not like when I made up the recipe I secretly poured one shot to rule them all. That would let me turn any pony who drank them unhappy. Hey, if any party could fix Twilight, this Pinkie Pie party should have done it, says Rainbow Dash. Thanks, Dashy, I say. I really do appreciate her reassurance. Now I'll need to plan an even better sorry your last party wasn't so good party for Twilight. I thought this was to be a light and funny breather chapter. This isn't what I signed on for. The next morning I go out to the market to buy some ingredients that the cakes say we're running low on. When I get there, the very first thing I do is say hi to Applejack, but she's not in her usual spot. Instead, she's set up a few rows down. Hi, Applejack, I say as I walk up to her. How come you're all the way over here today?
Didn't want to sit up too close to Azalea. The way Twi was hurting last night still has me a bit riled up, and it ain't a good idea for me to talk to her till I cool off a bit,
she says. I'm really worried about Twilight, I say. Do you think that we could find her a new mare friend? Of the 7,439 mares who live in Ponyville, 853 of them like fillies at least a little bit.
How do you know it's exactly that many?
Asks Applejack. How do I know that? Oh yeah, a couple weeks ago Mare was giving a speech and said that the hydra attack that had happened was a senseless act of violence. But I was thinking about balloons, not really listening, so I thought she said it was a consensus act of violence. And I thought, silly Mare, you can't commit an act of violence with a consensus. But then I was like, or can you? And I went around for the next couple of days asking every pony in town probing and embarrassing questions and sometimes watching them sleep. Then, by the time I was all done, I remembered that even if I could commit a consensus act of violence, it probably wouldn't be very nice of me to do it.
Pinkie Pie, you there?
I look up at her. If you were doing a Hydra consensus, would you have to count each head separately? I ask. These are important questions.
I'm not really sure, Sugar Cube,
she says. Before I can ask if she knows what a consensus act of violence is, I happen to look over her shoulder. Hey, Applejack, you said a second ago that the smart thing to do when you're furious at a pony is to not talk to them until you calm down a little bit, right? I ask.
That's what I think anyway,
she says. And Star Swirl's pretty smart, right? I ask.
I sure think so. I can't make head or hoof of what they say to each other half the time,
she says. Then Star Swirl must not be furious anymore because he's going to talk to Azalea right now. Applejack turns to see him going past us. Funny, he still looks pretty furious. Should we go with him?
Nah, I think we should stand back and watch the fireworks. Azalea is my friend, and I don't want to say anything to her that I'll regret later. But I'd be a liar if I said I didn't want to see her get a little sass for the way she treated Twi,
says Applejack. Wow, there's going to be an argument and fireworks? Maybe he just wants to buy a flower, I point out.
I think we're going to find out one way or the other,
says Applejack. Star Swirl stumps a hoof on the ground to get Azalea's attention, and whatever he's saying to her, I can't make out most of it from here. But he must really want that flower. I never heard of a you just threw away your shot with the greatest mare you'll ever meet, you weak and stupid coward flower. They must not grow around here. I guess Azalea doesn't have what he's asking for, and she must really needed the sale because she's starting to cry. Then Star Swirl tells her she's missing out big time because in his experience, mares who have the potential to become dark evil monsters are great in the sack. I'll have to remember that if Azalea and Twilight get back together, there's going to be some crazy competition at the Ponyville Track and Field Sack Race next month. Now Azalea's blushing and crying at the same time. That's a neat trick. Although, a little sad too, since, crying. I guess Star Swirl knows he isn't going to get that flower he wanted, because he turns and stalks off. Applejack is watching him go, and she looks a little mad. I don't think she expected him to want that flower that much, and she might feel a little guilty that she didn't do anything to stop him from making Azalea cry.
Pinkie, stay here,
she says as she chases after him. Like that's really going to happen.
Hey, you!
Yells Applejack. Does she know that I'm hiding out here in the bushes? Wow, she's good. I totally camouflaged myself, and then I painted over the camouflage paint with another layer of it, so I'm double camouflaged.
What?
Asked Star Swirl, turning to face her.
Maybe I was out of line, but that mare can go buck herself. I won't apologize.
He says.
Azalea's my friend. Why did you say what you did?
Asks Applejack.
Because she deserved it. She's just the most miserable, ungrateful. She wouldn't know a good thing if it smacked her in the face,
says Star Swirl. Applejack raises a skeptical eyebrow.
Why do I think that by good thing you really mean Twilight Sparkle? Of course I do. Twilight, do you even know what she was willing to do? She told me to run away and leave her to be tortured to death for decades to save all you ponies. I wouldn't have done that. But then she gets back here, and that arrogant brat just dismisses her because of what she might have done. As if the only things she might have done were awful ones,
says Star Swirl.
Seems like you're awfully fond of her. Are you sure you ain't sweet on Twilight?
Asks Applejack. Ooh, man, that would be a totally crazy plot twist if it was true.
Ew, no, I don't know, she's special, but not like that. She's smart, and she's so dedicated, I want to strangle her sometimes. But when I see her hurting, I just want to strangle whoever's making her feel that way. There's no word for it.
He says.
I can think of one.
Says Applejack.
Family. She's family to you. Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Mumbles Star Swirl.
Ain't nothing to be ashamed of.
even if it ain't by blood. I feel the same way about her, and I reckon the rest of the girls do too.
I didn't think any of you were related.
He says, You ain't listening to me at all, are you? I don't know every little thing she's been through, though Lord knows I've asked her to tell me. Then again, I suppose a mare deserves to keep her secrets. I've seen her pushed way past what any pony's breaking point should be. Maybe she did do bad stuff, but I don't care much. I'd follow her to the end of the world if she asks.
I wouldn't. I'd tell her she's insane.
I bet you would. That what you said right before you followed her into a whole other universe? She asked.
That was different. We were... Shut up!
He says. Applejack chuckles. You know, Twilight told me a bit about you. Said you were a whiny, arrogant jerk of a pony who will never amount to anything unless he changes his attitude. But I think she was wrong.
Oh yeah? What is it you think of me?
He asks. I think you're a whiny, arrogant jerk of a pony who just might turn out to be something special despite yourself, says Applejack. Try pulling your head out of your plot sometime and stop treating ponies around you so awfully. You might be surprised at how many of them would like you if you gave them half a chance. Now I'm going to go back there to comfort Azalea, 'cause she's hurting over all this too. I don't know if they broke up for good or not, but I know she's a pony with a good heart. Or I wouldn't have set her up with Twilight in the first place. Don't follow me. Applejack walks off, leaving Star Swirl just sitting in the path for a minute before he turns and leaves the other way, towards Twilight's library. I'm totally going with him to see how Twilight's doing. I'm really good at being just the sneakiest pony ever, and he doesn't even realize I'm here until I pop out of the door of the library when he opens it. Surprise! I say.
Gah!
He shouts and staggers back.
Pinkie? How did you get in there?
I was following you after you talked with Applejack, and I saw that you were about to go into the library, and I thought, wouldn't it be funny if I popped out of there when he opened the door? And so I did, and it was, I say.
But how did you actually get into the library?
He asks. Silly pony, I just told you. Pay more attention next time, I say. He walks past me and into the library. Twilight is sitting at the table with her face flat against it, with a steaming mug of coffee sitting next to her. Twilight, you can't drink coffee through the surface of a table, I say. She groans. Pinkie, please be quieter. I feel like I just had changeling eggs laid in my brain again. This might actually be worse, she says.
Well, when you're up to it, you should take a look at this,
says Star Swirl. He brings the Element of Magic crown out of the guest room. I guess it's the second one, because Twilight brought hers back to Ponyville. Twilight's the only pony I know for who having something you think about makes her hangovers better instead of worse. She perks up, and we both look at it. Hey, I thought you said the jewel part was black. That looks a lot purplier than I thought it would be, I say.
And the color's been shifting. What about yours?
Yes, Twilight. Twilight walks up to her room and carries the other Element of Magic down to the table. I'm in the magicalest library ever. Looks the same to me. Yours is a little darker, says Twilight. Yours matches your coat, just like ours. It must mean you're EMBFFs, Element of Magic best friends forever, I say.
I don't feel any interaction between the two of them,
says Star Swirl.
Do you think anything will happen if they touched?
He asks. Oh my gosh, I totally know what would happen, I say. Twilight and Star Swirl look over at me. I bet there'd be a big magical explosion and they would swap bodies or something. And then you'd try to hide it from every pony else because obviously it's funnier that way and you'd both have to go back to Camelot to fix it for some reason. Then Star Swirl would look like Twilight and Princess Celestia would think he is Twilight. And she'd ask you for a friendship report and you'd have to make one up on the spot. But you'd have an epiphany about how amazing friendship really is. And while Star Swirl was doing that, Luna will find Twilight who looks like Star Swirl and she'll be all, come to bed, lover. And Twilight would get to bang Luna again, and it would be super awesome, but you'd end up with all sorts of gender confusion issues because at this point I think you should go ahead and try to collect all the different kinds of mental problems one pony can have. Plus, then you and Azalea can make up, but she'll find out somehow and she'll be all like, how could you? We were all only taking a break. And Twilight would be all like, You're the one who left me. Then you two would start casting the spell to fix the rest of the time stuff. Only you have to do it up in the sky for some reason. And while you two are casting it, Azalea and Luna would have a climactic sword fight on top of a zeppelin to win Twilight's love once and for all. And then Star Swirl is fatally wounded. He gets to tell Luna he loves her one more time. Then Twilight will be all, oh no, but time. And Azalea will realize that she's been the real Star Swirl all along. Then our readers will be like, I have no idea what's going on, and I love it. I gasp for breath. The rest of the story is going to be the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, we're not doing that,
Says Star Swirl. I'll put mine back somewhere safe, says Twilight, and levitates it upstairs to her room. Sorry, guys, I tried.
We should do some more work on the math to collect all the little timelines that are still out there. The divergence won't be as great, but if there's enough of them, they might create problems eventually,
Says Star Swirl. They start to talk to one another, and I don't think I'm gonna pay attention to that anymore. It's not fair. My idea was really good, and neither of them wanted to do it. I walk out of the library, and they don't even notice, so I just sit on the steps. I don't want to stay sad, and at least the time problem made her stop feeling like a fuddy-duddy stick in the mud. Hi, Pinkie Pie, says a voice from above. Derpy, I say. Finally, a mare whose thought process makes sense to me. What's up? I am, she says, and we both laugh. Actually, somebody important said I need to give a letter to Twilight. Is she in there? Asks Derpy. Yeah, but she's doing time stuff with Star Swirl right now, I say. Perfect. That's who I'm supposed to tell her to pass it on to. Would you give it to them? Asks Derpy. Sure, I say. I'm always happy to help. Derpy passes the envelope to me and flies onward, but when I turn it over, the letter inside slips out. When I pick it up, I can't help but read what's written on it. I walk back into the library. Twilight, Star Swirl, check out this letter, I say. What's it say? Asks Twilight. It says that you and Star Swirl are going to go to the end of time, I say. It's a watch store in Canterlot. I guess something Star Swirl ordered came in, I say. Wait, what do you mean that was supposed to be the start of the next chapter? If I'd stopped right after the end of time, it would have sounded like some kind of big deal cliffhanger. Hey, you were going to do that on purpose. That's mean. I'm not going to stick to the script if you're going to write things like that. It's practically like lying. Well, fine. Maybe I don't want to be the narrator anymore anyway, you big jerky McJerky pants. I quit!